Alrighty here. Welcome back to Tiger Isle, the Second City. This is another look at more mechanics. Today's mechanics, Empowered Maximize Fireball. I didn't bring a pin in here, but I think we'll be okay. I've got my stylus. Alright, so this is, once again, the PHP. Hopefully there. And that is, I'm going to go to my Kindle here. Over here, and hit that. Good. And that was from yesterday with our range at 200 difference. And from here, we're going to fireball that Sorcerer Wizard 3. That's 400 feet. Now we're going to cover that one up there. And from that, that's 400 feet right there. Then we're going to cover up the other one, and it's at 40 feet per level. So it's very complicated what goes on there. So there's two add-ons there. That's area. And like looking up something in a reference book, I didn't read the evocation level or components or casting time before I looked at that range. But that is the information that's involved in it. And here, that's Fireball on page 231. And that's right here. Data of a 3rd level spell. And that's 10d6 there. And let's go here. Ooh, that's hard to pick up here. And there it is, right there. If not, I will try to post that. But there it is. It kind of looks like almost only with my camera. And there we go. Nope, still not really. But anyway, the damage is 10d6. Let's see, a fireball spell. Then that detonates, 2nd line. d6 points of fire damage per caster level, 3rd line. Maximum 10d6. And that was a lot there. 4 line down, and not on the 1st line. Backed up with the description. Let's see. Fireball sets fire to combustibles and damaged objects in the area. Can melt metals with low melting points such as lead, gold, copper, silver, and bronze. The damage caused to an interposing barrier shatters or breaks through it. Fireball may continue beyond the barrier if the area permits. Otherwise, it stops at the barrier just as any other spell effect does. Material component, tiny ball of bat guano and sulfur. Right above flame arrow. And there's an indented over guano. There's a space missing for material. And above and, barrier, they, ball, rear, barrier, the, as, melt, and space. The fireball sets fire to combustibles and damages objects in the area. Wouldn't guess that. That goes all the way up to fireball. I think it's always been taught that that doesn't do so like Flaming Spear, but apparently it does. And that's on page 231. What I'll do is I'll try to take a picture of these and see if I can get them into the video for reading. Let's go back here. Information we should have kept here is 3rd level and 10d6. So that's Wizard Specialization again. And that's 3rd level spell, which that is, and that's 10th level spell there. Boom, right there, once again, and up to 20th level. And from there it says level right there at the top. And back on page 22, from the previous video of caster level, that is the first table, table 3.1, table 3.2. And to 10th level, that's at 45,000 experience. With modules being 2 grand a piece, that's 45,000 divided by 2,200 experience in each module. It would take about 20 modules to get to the point to be able to cast, I suppose in Living Greyhawk, to cast a fireball. And that's here. That's a backpack, and that's your hit points, and the hit points of different classes. And there's the, for example, with Dania, I'm getting off topic there, with max hit die, and there's the D8 thing. Okay. But the Empowered Maximize Fireball is a feat. Let's go here. That's page 91. And then from that 91, that is Metamagic feat right there. And only one of those actually is a feat that can raise the spell level of the spell and not be an effect or a feat effect. And that's the word feat. And it's got an A in it on page 90. But most people, I won't say most people, might feel like it's double E type thing, that type of sense. But that's like a ball thing or something like that type of sense. As in a technique of like, it's like a fate or something. So much along the lines of those types of techniques rather than just your feet, like on your shoe, but different techniques like in World Cup soccer. So a little bit different there. Or about the same thing. Now on page 22, that's here, and that character level right then and there, character level 0 class, cross class feats on table 3-2 there, and first feat and second feat. So in these feats here, later on, like the fourth one and the fifth one, or fifth and sixth, it's probably about the fourth and fifth, you can take Empowered feat and then Maximize feat and on a character. Let's see here. Okay, so that's 1 and 0. So now this is the first level of a character there, and we're going to put a 1 down there for it. Normally sometimes you cover this up and then you just read the rest of the line type of sense, and the first thing that you would see is that 0. But right next to it, really literally just putting down the first thing that you see on a character level, which is 1, and then putting down the next column, which is 0. And from there, type thing that means there's a 0, but there's also a 1. The 0 experience is your first level character. It's a subset. The 0 is a subset of being character level 1. Yep. But digress again. Anyway, you'll get more feats later on in an Empowered Maximize. That is page 135, and that attack roll on page 135 in the PHP along with your saving throws. Again, that's the first row type thing, and that is the second row. And from there, type thing under combat and basic, saving throw and battle grid are not in the same row, which they are. And from that, that means there's 2 rows, and there's 2 rows of information on page 135, both relevant. Saving throws and negative hit points, damage, armor class, and attack roll at the bottom of the first one beyond initiative, and saving throws up the top. So different rows, different amounts of information. Same with feats. And in those feats, which there are information on here, there's your bonus language and familiar. Scribe scroll is there, and bonus feats here. But those bonus feats on a wizard are here on page 55. And that's a bonus feat, bonus feat, bonus feat, and bonus feat. This one's at 5th level right there. And there. We're going to go across to that. And that's 5th level. Back to page 22. And from that, that's 5th level 10,000 experience. Not on the first table, but the second table. And at 10,000 experience, there's no feat there type thing. So there's separate feats for the 5th level one compared to your wizard misprint of the 6th level feat at 15,000, which is your 3rd feat, or the one at 3,000 experience, which is your 2nd feat. Which either one of those type thing could be considered a misprint, but they stack. And so in that stack list, what you're doing is you're trying to pick your feats that are appropriate for building your character. Now, and some of those are on page 91 are Metamagic feats. Benefit, increase spells variable, numeric effects by 50%, double spell range, double spells duration, cast spells is higher level, maximize spells variable numeric effects, cast spells is a free action, cast spells without verbal components, cast spells without somatic components, and that's what like sign language, and or the movement of your body, and double spell area. Now for somatic, we can go to the index in the back. Or we can go to a glossary. And from here, that is on page 312 in there. And here, that is no somatic spelling. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn to 317. Page 317, I've got somatic component, page 174. So we're going to turn to 174. And here. And I've got first row necromancy and somatic here in the top of the second row. So now that's the first row there. And then the second row is somatic component. And a somatic component is a measured and precise movement of the hand. You must have at least one hand free to provide a somatic component. So in there, they said right then and there, that's your hand. So a somatic component is underscore your hand. Your physical hands. You're putting the ring on your finger. It's your hand. I guess you can say that's a finger, but that's your hand. Okay, let's go on top here. I'm not going to be able to do that. Okay here. Alright. Got way off topic, but that's somatic and usually indicated by an S compared to verbal, and then material component or divine focus of a holy symbol. And that's somatic, and it had hand in there type thing there. So that's how that is. Okay. So now we have to go back to the spell on page 231. That's Fireball. And that's a third level spell. So we're going to look at that in our feat. We're going to assume that they qualify for right now. You know the thing about assumptions. But we go here. And there's the Fireball, which we looked at here. Evocation Fire, there's the 3. So we have 3 total matching with that 3. And we're going to put that here. And now the Empower feat, which is on page 93. Okay, first column again, and then second column, that's the Empower spell. What I'm going to do here, so I'm going to bring this in, there. Okay, and that's the Empowered spell, and it is a Metamagic feat, Empowered spell, and from there deals 1.5 times damage. There's a 1, and there's a second one, and then you catch up to here, and it says you can benefit or increase much effects, example, damage, saving throws, pose rolls. There's the deals 1.5 times damage, and let's see, an Empowered spell uses a spell slot 2. Got that there. On the Empowered spell, levels higher than the spell's actual level. So now that is here. That's the 3 there from that spell. And with that 2, we're going to put a 2 over that here, right there. And that 2 goes with that feat of Metamagic, and that's 2. So to do the Metamagic feat costs us a slot 2 levels higher than what we started with, which is 3. So now when you enter that, into a calculator. Okay, here, I'm going to tip this here. It does that the long way. I'm going to clear there. And sun is really bright. There we go. And that's 3 plus 2. And that is going to equal, and hold on here, 5. So now it's going to cost a 5th level slot. Now, we started with a 3rd, and now we're up to 5 in total. Okay, now maximize, which is going to deal 6 points of damage, and it's going to use up a spell slot 3. See, there was the 2 actual levels. An empowered spell uses up a spell slot 2, and we had a 2 type thing there. Now it's a 2, and then levels higher than the spell's actual level. Now, spell slot of maximize, and that's not empowered. Maximize is on page 97. So now, in empower, that's dodge, empower, and endurance. Now I'm going to go to 97. And that's martial weapon proficiency. Whoops, investigator, iron will, leadership, over around the bow to martial weapon proficiency, and down to maximize metamagic, maximize spell metamagic. And from the bottom of that actual level, maximize spell uses up spell slot 3 levels higher than the spell's actual level. So now we've got the 3 there, and we've got here, that was the 2, and now that's a 3 right then and there. And now you're going to add 3 to your previous total of the empowered and the fireball. So now we need to take the 5 plus 3. And that is going to be an 8th level spell slot. Now technically in that type thing there, that still is really, in that type of sense, a 3rd level spell indented for the effect of the empowered. Now I'm going to have to write that one down. When I say effect, taking that type of sense, that's kind of difficult to understand. The effect of taking it times 1 and 1, 2, taking that type of sense, and that is 2 1s in that means, which is equal to 1.5. or 150 over 100. So 150%, the percent sign is going to come out to be 100. And that is 150 over the percent sign, which is the percent sign is century. And that was better than most. Yeah. And that's going to be century. There's 100 years in a century, or here in this type of thing, 100 digits of data. Yeah. Just like a meter with 100 centimeters. Yeah. So now that's going to be 150 over 100, and then 150 divided by 100. So it's 150, 150% divided by 100 equals 1.5. Very complicated there. So now in that type of sense, you can find other things that equal 1.5. You can have taken top and bottom and divided top by, let's see here, clear, 150 divided by 50, which is equal to 3, and 100 on the bottom divided by 50, which is equal, 100 divided by 50, which is equal to 2. So now you got 3 divided by 2 and reduce fraction, and that's also 1.5. So it depends on how difficult that is. So in that, that's 150 divided by 50 over 100 divided by 50, which is 3 over 2. Or you can, that's a fraction, and here 1.5 is a decimal. Depends on which one you want to work with. So now in that, that is fireball, which is 10d6, and that's 10 times 6 there, which is going to be 60. And in that 60, now that's the spell. Now from that, we move on to the effect. Our first effect, in that type of sense, is going to be maximization. Alright, I'm going to need a piece of paper here. This really isn't complicated. So now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now I'm going to need a cup. Yeah. And let's put this down. Ow. And we've got an 8th level spell slot, which is on the table type thing, which I should look at immediately for its complexity. Okay, here. And that is page 55. And here, over the horizontal one, 0, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. 8th level slot, going down type thing. You're going to start one of those through a bonus feat at 15th level. So, very complicated. 15th level, gotta go here. Here is here. And that is 15th level on table 3-2 is 105,000 experience. Yeah. So now 105,000 experience divided by 2,200 experience per mod. And that is 47 to 48 mods of Living Greyhawk experience to be able to cast that spell. So now, here, I need my cup. So let's assume at 17th level, that's greater than 10th level, and it's already hit 17th level. It's already hit the max. So the most that you can get in your d6 is not 17 d6, but 10 d6, 7 d6 less than the spell allows. You're gonna have to write that down. It's not that complicated. Here. So now, the maximum of the spell was 10 d6. You were wizard 17, wizard 15, and that's 15, that's A, and then your D, that's B, and then C, that's 6. So now in that, that's 15 d6, and there was a max of 10 d6, and the max is the 007 license of it type thing. So the max that it's going to be done is 10 d6. Can't exceed the 10 d6 type thing in that type of sense. Yeah. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 of what the spell description said was the maximum, which was 10 d6. That's 11, 12, 13 caster, 14 caster, and 15 caster right then and there. But the maximum of the spell was 10 d6, so it doesn't matter. All this other level stuff turns to waste. Yeah. It's well, not another spell, an 8th level spell slot, but you can't make that 15 d6 in there like that. So now in that type thing, that's your spell, which is a 3rd level spell, and in that type of sense, this is an effect. The first effect we're going to do is maximize. So here we go. Now, generally, people don't need a maximization. That's 10 d6 of that right there, because they're already doing it. Alright, that's 10 d6 dice. And let's see here. We've got a 5, a 2, a 3, a 5, a 6, a 3, a 2, a 4, a 5, and a 3. So now, before we hit maximize here, we had a chance at 60 because we had 10 d6. And let's do here. Oh, let's see there. That's 10, and that times 6, which is equal to 60. Whoops, that's clear. 10 times 6, and that's 60 right there. But we got some 5s, 2s, 3s, 5s, 6s, 3s, and 2s, so we don't have 60. So it's 5 plus 5, that's 10, plus 5 is 15, that's 20, and that's 30, and got 38. So out of 60 possible type thing here on the bottom, we had 38. So now that's 38, and divided by 60, and that equals 63.3%. So that's what we got there. Got the ticket times 100, and slide the decimal over 2 spots. 63.3%. See, 90 to 100, that's A. 80 to 90, that's a B. 70 to 80, that's a C. 60 to 70 is a D. And we got 63.3% of the possible out of that spell. So now we're going to turn to an effect. Just like that here. And our effect we're going to do here is our maximization type thing. Now from here, this maximize type thing there is not going to make 38 out of 60. It is going to take each one of these rolls type thing, and I have 1 6 in there, and that's going to make this one a 6, and it's going to make this one a 6, and flipping these over is an effect, which is also the fireball spell, and that's a 6, and that's the one that comes from page 97, and that's a 6, that's a feat, that's a 6, and that's a 6, and that's a 6, and that's a 6, and now that's a 6, and now that's a 6. So now in that type thing, we had a spell, which we're going to use a feat effect costing 3 slots. Well, this one is a 3rd level spell, and in that type thing, this feat effect is going to make our 38 roll go to 60 out of 60. That's the first part. So that's A, and really the spell is the first part, but that's our first effect. Now we're going to go to another feat effect, and that one is going to use a 1 dash 1 over 2. Now there's a 1 over the 2, and there's not a 1 before the dash, which there is. So now in that, there's 2 1s in there. That's 2 times 1 plus 1, which is 3. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1. 2 plus 1 is here. And 2 times 1 is equal to 2, plus 1 is equal to 3. So 3 over 2, showing the mixed fraction on the bottom from its origin divisional part. So in that type thing, that's B, or stenographer shorthand, so you know that it wasn't a whole number to begin with. And it's slightly different, leaving it a mixed fraction, a little bit more uniform fraction. And in that, that's a B. That was A was maximize. That's maximize. And B is empower. That's a different word. And in that one type thing, here we took 38 to 60. Now we're going to take 60 times 3 halves. Now that's complicated. And that's like making it 60, which it isn't. Now from that, we're going to start with an A line, and we're going to go 60 and put that over a bar, and put that over 1. And now we're going to put a giant parentheses. That 1 is on the B line type thing right there. Just like that. We're going to keep that line going through the parentheses. Now, that's a 60 type thing with 3 in the A and 2 in the B. So now, it's 60 divided by 2 as your A step, which is equal to 30. And we should double check that. That's 60 divided by 2. And let's see here. That is 60 divided by 2, which is 30. Good. Okay, now from 30, we're going to take 30, which is the first part, and we used the 2 in there. So we're going to cross that out, and we use the 60 in there. We're going to cross that out. And now, in that, the remainder of that was a 30 and 3 over 1. Like that. 1 into 30 is 30 divided by 1 is equal to 30. And so now we use the 1, so we got 30 times 3. So now in that, that's 30 times 3, which is equal to 90. So right then and there, Empowered Maximized Fireball does 90 damage. Not 68 or 38 in that case. So now from that, that was a 3rd level spell right there, which included a 3-slot effect, and also included, which is A, which is maximized, and also included a 2nd slot effect of empowered, which brought our total to 90 damage at whatever range that person was using in their wizard level to cast that. I think we were using a 15th level wizard, so that would be A, and that's 400, and then B, that's 40 feet per level times 15 levels. So now we need to convert that. That's 400, and B was 40. Backspace there. 40 times 15, which is 600. Then 600 plus 400, and that's 1,000 feet divided by 5 feet in each square, which is 200 squares. So for 200 squares of board, they can throw a 1,000 foot at 15th level, 105,000 experience, which is about 48 modules of 90 damage fire. Now we're going to return there. We know the damage, but we don't know the slot. So now, there's a 3rd level spell. If it came across a globe, which it could prevent a 3rd, which I believe is in the player's handbook, but over Mystic Time type thing has evolved out of it. And let's go here. Okay, I'm on page 236. I'm in the first row at the bottom, and I've got Global Invulnerability, Lesser. The Global Invulnerability without the comma lesser is a 4th level. The other one, Immobile Faintly Shimmering Magical Spirit surrounds you and excludes all spell effects, up at the top center of 3rd level. Let's go back to this one here, and this one above that. This spell functions like Globe of Invulnerability without the comma lesser part. And see, there's a comma there and a lesser, and then Global Invulnerability and a comma and a lesser. Oh, no. And except that it also excludes 4th level spells and spell-like effects. So it's 1 level bigger for that globe. That's a 3rd level spell in Fireball. So this 3rd level spell would be blocked by that. So now you've got the globe. That's a spell, and then followed up by an effect. And an effect is as much of a spell as spell is, and another effect. So by all technical standards, without heightened metamagic, this is still a 3rd level spell, and that would be blocked. Even though you used an 8th level slot to do it, which is 5 levels off, all that other extra stuff came from effect. From maximize and empowered of 3 and 2, which is 5 levels of effect. Right there, taking that type of sense. Which is really 0 type thing, so you're just left over with the 3rd level Fireball type thing in that type of sense. Right there. So it's really just a 3rd level spell. So you have, again, the complexity of that type thing. That's A. That's a 3rd level spell right then and there. And then B, indented, is 3 maximize effect. And then C is 2 empower effect. Right there. That 3 plus 2 is 5. And that's going to drop down this 3 here from the beginning of that. And 3 plus 5 is equal to 8. Should double check once again. if that's right, that's 3 plus 2, which is equal to 5, and then 5 plus 3, which is equal to 8. But that 3 and 2 came from the indented column there of the effect and not the spell. So all intents and purposes, this is an 8th level slot, but you use the stuff that you started from the beginning, which is really made up of just a 3rd level spell. And that spell versus a globe would be blocked because it's a 3rd level spell. The slot part of it, that's the B part, which is the 8th level slot, but initially, A, it's not being upgraded by effects to a different spell level. Effects can't raise the spell level. There's only one effect that can raise the spell level, and that's the effect. We looked at one effect of a Metamagic, and that was Empower. But it can't, it's an effect that can't do that. And that's EFFECT. And that's 2, and that's Maximize, and that can't do that. But 3, Heighten, actually does off of page 91. And we didn't use a Heighten in this spell. Yeah, that's... So there is, and I'm not sure what its spell level slot is other than the new adjustment. I guess you can make that a 9th, but technically I think you only raised it 1 to keep up with it, making it a 4th level spell, which would still be blocked and not include the times and a half, the 1 and a half, or the change in the roll of 38 to the 60. So all that is what goes into a Maximize Empowered Fireball. So you've got the Maximize, the Empowered, feats, those are both feats, and the Fireball spell. And it does do 90. It's a 3rd level spell, which is going to cost you another 5 levels in effect, raising it to an 8th slot under a 3rd level spell for 90 damage at 1,000 feet, which was 200 hexagonal squares, which are just squares in the new maneuverability of board. Say about 40 squares per board, so you're probably looking at 5 tiles or something like that. 5 tiles of distance in between you and the tower of fire throwing damage type thing, which can be blocked by Lesser Globe of Invulnerability if the mage or cleric puts that up. Silence could stop the mage because there's a verbal component to Fireball, but the range of silence for a cleric, I believe, is 15 feet. And that would only make them at 985 feet necessary to get closer to drop the silence spell on them, and so that wouldn't block it. But that's if placed on a messenger or a whisper message or something of that nature. It probably could go off to do so on an animal companion like a bird or something like that, and have them touch deliver to the square on top of the tower a silence spell, and that would shut off the fireball. Well, that was that's the tower there, and that's the mage in the center, and that's a square AC 5 type thing, and then the bird, which is an animal companion with druid, I think, would, ooh, that's not a good bird. Yeah, that's better. And then the bird would land there, and then the spell would be on like their feet or something, or their beak, and then they would tap that along the floor, and then silence would send out type thing on the top of that tower type thing. Even though this is 1,000 feet, and then that's 1,000, that's 1,000 feet minus the 15 feet of the spell of silence, which is 985 feet remaining. So I don't believe silence could go that far. But you could put it on an animal companion for a deliver touch spell, or something of that nature. So now, that's page 279 in the player's handbook. Center, shocking grasp, shout greater, and then shrink item, and to silence type thing. Oh, range of 400 feet plus 40 feet per level, 20-foot radius, emanation centered on a creature, object, or point in space, with a duration of 1 minute per level. So, back to Fireball on 231. And Fireball in the center Evocation, Fire, Level, Sorcerer, Wizard 3, Components, Verbal, Somatic, and Material. So Silence can work against the V in your components there. That was page 174 in the book here. And from that is the bottom of 174, Necromancy, Transportation, Descriptor, Level, Components, and 3 lines in the bottom of 174 is Verbal V. Verbal components, a spoken incantation, and so Silence would end that. Now, turning back to 52 of complexity, or 51, there's a sorcerer, and in that, on page 52, is the familiar right there. See the table 316 down to 20 and characteristics, and then a bar, and then familiars right then and there. And from that, that's the bonuses from the familiar. And over on page 53 is intelligence, alertness, improved evasion, shared spells, empathic link, deliver touch, and then speak with master or spell before, speak with animals, spell resistance, scrying on familiar, master class level 1st through 20, natural armor adjustment, intelligence 6, alertness, improved evasion under special, shared spells, empathic link, which is body language, and then deliver touch spells with intelligence 7. Now, if they can make their silence into a touch spell, then the bird could fly over there. I believe Whispering Wind could do it too. Let's go to Druid. Same thing here. That's on page 35. And level 1, first, 0 attack bonus, 2 fort, 0 reflex, 2 will save, animal companion. And from that animal companion, if you go down here to Druid Prepares, spontaneous casting at 20th level, a Druid Prepares on table 3-8, 20th level, a Druid Prepares, spontaneous casting, chaotic evil, bonus languages, and then animal companion here type thing, extraordinary, Druid may begin play with an animal companion selected from the following list: badger, camel, dire rat, dog, riding dog, eagle, hawk, horse. Those things you can find in a monster manual in the back around at 280, which I believe I've demonstrated in a summoning video beforehand. But I should probably get that here. Let's go to page 180 in the player's handbook. That is at the bottom, new divine spells, over to natural abilities and extraordinary abilities, supernatural abilities, and spell-like abilities. Here, right there, type thing, above natural abilities is extraordinary abilities or extraordinary abilities, or EX, which is the first 2 letters of that. That's the one abilities that it's talking about. Now for your animal companion, it's got a 0 hit die, and that's not correct either. And that's here. And that's a monster manual right then and there. From the limited stack that I have available, and that means here. And there. And now we're going to do that. Now, from that monster manual, that is here, that is page 231, and that is Pony War 271. There is that, and 273 here, that's the war horse, and above that, that's the light horse, and over here, that's the heavy horse, and horse, type thing in that type of sense. The horse has 3d8, or 3d8, or 4d8. So now, that's 1, 2, 3, and 4 hit dice, type thing that means. From there, you go back into a player's handbook. And you turn to page 35, that's your animal companion, and then you turn the page, you see Tordic, and it's above his bow, right there. But then you turn to 36, and you see Woodland Stride, a bar, and then Druid Animal Companion, 1st to 2nd level, 0 hit dice. So now the hit dice that you have, which is 4 from the heavy warhorse, go to 0. No, they just stay at the 4d8. That's their actual hit die type thing. I believe the horse had a 3. Is that right? So in that, that's 8, 8, and 8. If they have a constitution modifier from that, which is very complicated, then that's what they're also doing with each hit die that they have. And so much like a player character, and they get a hit die per level, then they're a 4th level creature for bonuses or spells or things of that nature. That's page Monsters Ranked by Challenge Rating, page 318 and 319 in the Monster Manual. Very concerning. And there's a lot of information that just can blow right on by. Yeah. And that's 277, and that's 273. I didn't start from the top here. That's a heavy warhorse, 48 plus 12. Now in there, an undue necessary of reading. Heavy warhorse, large, hit dice, initiative, speed, armor, base attack, attack, full attack, space reach, special attack, special qualities, saves, abilities, strength 18, dex 13, con 17. So now we get to go back there. Con 17 in Empowered Metamagic is here. And that's a page 8 there. That's table 1-1 ability modifiers. That's 18, 16, 17 space, and then along that line a +3. So here you had an 8 and then another 8, and each time you roll the hit die, which is on page 9 here, that's your constitution. First bullet point, each roll of a hit die, throw a penalty, can never drop a result below 1. That is, character always gets 1 hit point each time he or she has a level. Right above the bullet, which is below, which is above, you apply your character's constitution modifier. And their constitution modifier was +3. Got it? Alright, good. So now, that's 8, 8, and 8 here. That's 8, 8, 8, and 8. Taking that type of sense. Now, here, do I have the levels? First, second, third, and fourth level there, which I'm not writing it down. And that is wrong math in a magic deck to try to put together with a lot of different techniques. And then here, we need 3, 3, 3, and 3 for the Constitution modifier, along with the D8. It doesn't get absorbed, indented into the D8. It adds on top of the D8. So that's 3, 3, and 3 from that 17 Constitution. So now that's 32 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, taking that type of sense. But we should probably double check. And then here, and then here. So now I gotta tip the screen to make the screen sideways. And that was 4 times the 8, and that's 32. And we're going to clear that, and that's 3 times the 4, and that's 12. The other one was 12 plus the 32, which is equal to 44. So the horse has an exponential of 38 out of 60 of 44 hit points, where the 60 is, where it would be 44. And that here we got 38 over 60, and the 38 was the x part at that type of sense. Here we're going to have an x part equal to over 44. So the horse might have 32 hit points or 37 or something like that, or some percentage. Taking 44 times, that's clear, 70 divided by 100 is equal to 0.7 times the max of 44, which is equal to 30.8. So 70 percentile type thing, or a C for the horse, would be 30.8, probably rounded down, 30 over 40, x equals 30 over 44. Yeah. And that is why AD&D can rock it, or in that type of sense, can just be, and the things that control that, like your specials or your feats, can change that to a little bit more kapow. Thanks for listening to Dimming Sage Block 9 and Tiger Isle the Second City, and Dimming's normal upper and lower control limit, which is in the 2 tails of a normal bell curve, and coming a little bit closer to a statistical population estimations. Also, thanks for listening to 1d8 plus 1, a cleric joke. Leonel orbs of Guardian. And Leonels or Gardnels are in, if you turn to the first page of the book, on page 3, alphabetical listing of monsters, which you could go through, and that is to have Guardians in the monster manual, not in, or Gardnels, 141. So then you turn to page 141. And that's a Gardnel underneath the Grimlock. Right there is the great picture going down to his feet. Gardnel, 141 over to 142. Now 142 is Leonel, and in the picture you see wings, and next to the wing guy, that's a Lion Guardian. So, have a, well, it's almost the month of Leo. But also some like lions on orbs in front of houses or castles. Or dragons or something of the nature. It's ultimately zombie ninja cool. So just, or Crisis cool or something of that nature. In Bubblegum or other anime or Witchblade or something, or Spawn or something in that nature. Or Lord of the Rings or Gandalf or Elminster. You got it. So that's the monster manual. Those are some Magic of Faerun, Forgotten Realm excitement in there. Happy calculations or plug and chug into your 1,000 feet from 400 feet plus 40 feet times 15 wizard levels. And that is, what was that? 600 for the 15 times 40 plus 400 base. So happy plug and chug of your wizard level into determining the feet distance of your spell. That's Darkness Rising. That's Journey Quest. Hopefully I'll get that on DVD. Great job to all of them of Zombie Orpheus. Really like their work. Eventually, through some of this other stuff, project management, Nicholas and Stein, APA publication and research design and planning, we're going to move away from caster level into understanding some more depth of our spells within our character choice of how much fire I'm carrying and can I substitute over to more fire. Definitely, again, thanks for listening and have a great one out there.